Hello everyone, it's Kvn and I are back again for like our 7-month hiatus or however long it's been since the last video, but we're back to do more draft analysis, this time for Season 9.
Yo, and some of you might not know this, but this is the second time we're recording this because we had some technical difficulties last time.
It's just called me having a skill issue.
Yeah, but hey, we're here. So,
Yeah.
like, just don't be surprised if sometimes I'll reference the first video we did.
I mean, how is that actually going to be helpful, because I'm not even going to upload it, so...
Yeah, but I might say something like, I said this last time, but, you know, I might
I
just
guess.
reference it sometimes, so, yeah,
Alright.
just better to let them know.
Yeah. I guess. It's still kind of stupid, but that's okay. I'm having a stupid
You're
day.
stupid, what the
Yes,
fuck?
I am stupid.
Alright, let's start this and try to do this sub 1 hour.
Let's start this. Yeah, we're already wasted a minute. Alright, let's go. So, first up we have a QQ with the best team name, Phalanx with 6 guns. And, yeah, his team's right here on screen. Well, I think we kind of came to the conclusion that it was a pretty good team, despite the meme picks.
Yeah, it is. Like, there's no big glaring weakness. It's not like, oh, because you name your team is now super weak to bug or fire or flying. I don't know. No. Rug. But yeah, despite being a meme team, or like, it's mostly just 2 meme picks, the team is really solid. There's no big glaring weakness.
I think the biggest weakness for me is that, like, I think the hazard setup here is a little on the limited side, because it's just Gliscor and just Heracross. Like, Gliscor, it doesn't mind running rocks, but you don't want to do it every game. And then Heracross, like, I feel like getting a spike up with it is easier said than done.
Yeah, and also speed gap from Spectre to, I think it's Spectre to Gliscor is kind of unfortunate because you have things like base 110 that can afford to run Adamant / Modest.
Yeah,
and so from 110 to 130, all those elite speedmon get to just have a 20% boost. Free.
Yeah. It's.
Yeah, expert belt. That's.
Yeah,
that's 10%, I think, actually. But yeah.
It's 10%, but yeah, that speed tier gap is pretty bad. Other than that, I'm not really a big fan of Heracross, but I think it works here.
I like Heracross here. It breaks like bulky dark type that could be annoying for Gmolt, Megazam, Spectre.
No, I'm just not a big fan of them on personally, but I think it works here. I think I would have gone like a different fighting type in that slot, but something like Mienshao would fit pretty well here. But I don't know what you would like have to drop to custom it to accommodate for the extra points.
Yeah.
But
I guess Arc Result maybe.
Yeah, I guess like maybe cheapen out on Arc Result.
Yeah, Arc Result outside of Hell is kind of sad.
I mean, to be fair, it has Ziso presumably for Z Hail.
I guess, but then if you're Z Hail, you're not Boots or like potential AV or Choice Band. I still think it's unfortunate.
It's not the end of the world.
It's still unfortunate. Like, I think like Zolt really thrives when you have a Hell Sitter for it.
Yeah.
I mean, like with Z, it's still usable, but not, I think, as good as it could be, essentially.
I mean, it could also just debatably be here for a meme pick as well.
I guess, yeah, it is the most busted Pokemon in Draft League.
Alright, I can't really think of much else to say about this team.
But yeah, that's it. It's still a cool team, I think.
Yeah, I still think it's kind of, it looks fun to use at least.
Yeah.
Alright, let's move on to Queen then. And I think it's not a bad team, I'm just not a fan of a lot of the mons on it. Like, I personally don't really like Lando, I don't really like Kang, I don't really like AG, I don't really like Brazion, I don't really like... Basically, I don't like anything on our team except for Rotom Wash. But I think
that's a you problem.
It is a me problem. Like, it's not, like, I'm not saying that the team is bad, it's just something that I would not use. So I'm more partial to be, like, finding its flaws.
I like the mons on there. My only real issue is that special offense is on the weaker side. Like, your best way to break mons on the special side are what? Rotom, Landorus, yeah. So something like a Mega Aggron, for example, could just be a huge pain in the ass because
Yeah.
it's hard to kill.
I mean, to be fair, she has Z Lando and Libero Cinderace, so it's like you have super effective
None of them will kill it because it's on the physical side. That's
yeah,
the
no, I'm
problem.
not saying it'll OHKO, but I'm saying like you do like 45 chip on it like every time.
Yeah, but then Aggron can turn to Ice
Mm-hmm.
Punch Lando, or So it's still annoying, I think, that your best special offense is not that strong.
Yeah. The speed tier gaps are good because yeah, Cinder's your fastest mon. But
Cinderace Virizion, I think, is fine. There's a Persian too, so
yeah.
Speed-wise, this is fine.
Yeah. I think Momentum's probably fine. Lando Wash is just a good pivot for her.
Momentum is fine. I think Removal is really good here. You have Spin, Defog, Court Change, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hazard setters are also pretty good. Lando, Clef are great Stealth Rock setters.
I think I would personally like to see Z move from Aegislash to like Persian Virizion because I think they'll get more mileage out of it. But that's just me.
Aegislash is also just a mon you bring more, and it can enable some Rock Polish physical set, Rock Polish,
I guess. It just
so I don't think it's a bad
option. I feel like you usually see like Colbur, Leftovers, Weakness Policy on AG more. And it's not like, I guess it does appreciate.
I still don't think it's a bad option.
Yeah. So overall, good team. I'm just not.
Hazy is just being a biased fuck.
Yes, I am being biased as fuck. At least I'm being upfront with it. Okay.
But yeah, besides that, I don't think there's much else to say. It's a solid team, and I think we can move on.
Alright, let's move on to the Quin then. I like a lot of, like, contrary to Queen's team, I like a lot of the mons on it, but man, he needs elite speed.
Yeah, I also love a lot of mons on here. I mean, there's a Zapdos. I'm a big fan.
I like the Mega Guard, Infernape, Nidoqueen, Empoleon's pretty cool. Hydra, I think Hydra's cool. I like Kecleon as well. It's just having Infernape.
It's a lot of good mons, but yeah, Infernape your fastest mon is cringe.
Yeah, you probably want like a face 120 plus mon here.
Like something like a Mega Lati clicks Calm Mind, and you're just it's a pain in the ass immediately. You're like, how do I revenge kill this?
Yeah, you have to beat it with floors and shit.
Yeah, Kartana outspeeds their whole team. That's just tragic. As the speed boosting, it gets one speed boost, it's over.
Yeah, I also think Mega Guard is like a little bit of a win more button here. I think it's a really fun mon, and I think it's good as a special breaker here. But
yeah, you have Clefairy, you have Calyrex, so like typing wise it doesn't add much, and then speed tier wise you
have Hydra that's basically
you share the same speed tier with Zapdos. You have Hydra that's pretty close, so like it's I don't like Guard here.
I think something like Mega Arrow could fit here.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it in the first video, but I like the Mega Garchomp version of this team better. I think Garchomp is a cool mon.
I think the Megachomp version is better too. But we'll see how this goes.
It's a lot of good mons.
Yeah. I think he'll probably be able to win games just based on like Calyrex Infernape. He's just a bitch.
Like Zapdos, Nidoqueen, and Empoleon are just hard to kill.
You have good ZUs as well, which helps.
Yeah, good users are there to break. Calyrex is here to like just break.
Yeah.
It's really just unfortunate that your team is like the speed tiers are just bad. It's not even that the team is slow because like in terms of Trick Room it's still whatever, Like you have Gorgas that can set up Trick Room, but then your only abusers are what? Calyrex, that's it. Everything else is just in the 60 to 100 I think zone.
A lot of mid.
Yeah, everything is there. So like, it doesn't thrive in Trick Room. It's still outsped by Kartana, the whole team, and it's unfortunate because there's so many good mons on this team. I really like a lot of the mons here. It's just that it's not quite fast enough, I think.
Alright, I think we can move on to Psycho now.
Yeah.
Alright, I like a lot of the mons here. The first four are literally what I had last season, and I think they're great. I think Bolt is great as well. Not really a big fan of Forge's Arcanine, but like I understand why they're here. But I think the big problem is one, no flying resist, and two, your main mons are very matchup dependent. At least with like Keldeo Superior.
Yeah. I wouldn't call Keldeo Superior necessarily the main monster though. Like there's a Mega Scissor and a Dragapult.
Yeah, but like I feel like you're gonna see Keldeo Superior come a lot of the times, even when they have mid matchups.
Yeah.
Just because like without it, then you have a massive gap from like Colt to like Cryogonal.
Yeah.
And Cryogonal, I doubt will run. Well, actually no, it could run a lot of speed. It'll probably be forced to run a lot of speed. It's 105, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, like switching into Brave Bird for this team is such a bitch.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not like Darunia's team, which we'll talk about a bit later, where there's still no flying resist, but at least his team is not weak to flying. In Psycho's case, you have Keldeo, Serp that are weak to flying, and Amon like Serp, I think, lets flying type come in pretty easily. And so it's just really unfortunate that if you do let the flying type come in, it's, oh, what do I sack now?
Yeah, I agree. I think an electric type would really help this team out.
Yeah.
Because at least it gives you a resist.
Yeah.
Something like Electros maybe, but then your removal. You have still Scizor Superior for just that can defog.
Yeah.
None of them.
Maybe drop like Crocodile for Stunfisk and then a different Dark type.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think Stunfisk has a really good matchup against most flying types.
Yeah. I have it in a league right now, and like I've used it to check like a Celesteela and I think Zero. I mean, it's not a flying type, but also a Zero Aura. So like it's a pretty solid mon for like how cheap it is.
It's really good in the meta, I think. Yeah, it's good against all of the fast electric types, fast flying types. So I think it would definitely help here switching into Hurricanes and Brave Birds.
Yeah. Anything else to add?
No, that was it, I think.
Okay. Alright, let's move on to Darunia. And like we said, and like we said earlier, no, Darunia doesn't have a flying resist, but I don't really see what mon really baits in a flying type on his team.
Yeah. I guess Genesect can let things like Moltres, Zapdos in maybe, but U-turn is kind of free.
Yeah.
And yeah, at least, like I was saying, at least your team you don't have any flying weakness, so
yeah,
it helps a bit. It's still not great at all, especially because flying moves are really strong neutral moves, right? Brave Bird and Hurricane are just strong moves. So this is just unfortunate that he has no flying resist.
Other than that, I'm a pretty big fan of his team.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the mons on it. I think the top 3 plus Modem, Incineroar, Uxie, Swallow were all really fun.
Yeah, and then like getting killed is also not an issue. On the special side, you have things like Specs Kyurem or Specs Prim that are super scary, even Specs Swallow.
Yeah.
And then on the physical side, there's a Terrakion.
Yeah, and like Genesect can like do either, and then you can sometimes bring like offensive Incineroar and surprise people because they always expect like the defensive set. But then, you know, Incineroar has 115 attack with high power stabs and SD.
Yeah. And surprisingly decent coverage moves. Like I think it has CC, Thunder Punch, EQ.
Great Punch, yeah. I think it gets like outrage as well. It's not really coverage, but it can do things.
Yeah, it can do things. I think that's a good way to put it. And he has a lot of good mons to like just get momentum.
Yeah.
U-turn Genesect, flip turn Prim, U-turn Gligar, Volt Switch Modem, U-turn Swallow, Parting Shot, or U-turn Incineroar, U-turn Uxie, right?
It's a really solid pivot spam team. My concern with that is that his removal isn't bad, but I just think that like sometimes he might have a hard time deciding whether or not he wants to click defog or like U-turn Volt Switch of like Gligar or Modem, because like if he decides, hey, if I click defog, then that's giving a free turn, and that's not ideal in some cases because his bulk is just okay. It's like it's good, it's passable, but it's not like elite, I guess.
Yeah, but also like if you were clicking U-turn voltage, essentially, then that means you were probably keeping momentum, and so it was probably really hard for opponent to click hazards, right? So
I guess,
I
yeah.
think it kind of balances out, where like the team is a lot about positioning, right? Just keeping momentum and not letting the opponent get like big hits on you.
Yeah, and I think this team is pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Because Hiram, Prim, Tarak, all 4 switches. Genesect forces a lot of switches as well.
Yeah.
Swallow can force switches.
You can, yeah, and then you can just put things in range of like Rock Polish Terrakion or just Swallow cleaning. Overall, a really solid team, I'd say.
Yeah, I would have fun using this, I think.
Yeah.
Let's move on to SirKill then, and this is a team that I'm glad I
It is a team. Yeah. This is so. In last time we did the recording, I think we both mentioned 3 teams that we really liked. This was one of my 3 teams.
Yeah.
One of my top 3.
It was one of mine as well.
A lot of really scary mon. Z Volcarona, insane. Z Gengar, really hard to switch into. Mega Garchomp, really hard to switch into. Megirna, it's Megirna.
Yeah.
And Barbarical Loki is kind of busted.
Yeah, and like with Z,
Shell Smash Z move.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good for its price.
It's scary because it's someone that you might not necessarily prep for, and then if it does come and you haven't prepped for it, suddenly it's like, uh-oh, what do I do here?
Yeah.
You know, those +2 Tough Claw boosted liquidation will not be kind to you. You know, they will hurt.
And I think like all the budget picks also make sense as well. Like I feel like they bring something as well. Like Leafeon is like a pretty solid ground resist.
It brings Wish. Miltank gives you another rocker that's not Mega Garchomp.
Shitmontop and Fan bring removal.
Shitmontop, yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah,
you had a weird way of... Yeah, you had a weird way of pronouncing Shitmontop.
You're right, you're right. Not a fan of it, but it makes sense for the team.
And yeah, and it has, this generation that has Technician Triple Axle, which is essentially an Ice-type V-Crit if you land everything.
Good luck with that.
So, it's solid. I really like the offense on this team, and then, like, the only issue I would have with it is that your rockers are only, Miltank and Mega Garchomp, and I feel like Miltank is not a mon you want to bring that often when the rest of your team is so powerful, right? Like,
yeah.
It would
I think Miltank can kind of lose momentum here. Whereas like Megirna can both pivot and force switches. Slowbro can teleport out. Weavile, Gengar force switches. Volcarona forces switches or sacks. Like all 3 of the 3 previous monsters all force either sacks or switches. Mega Garchomp forces switches. So like I can see Miltank kind of lose momentum, and I think it's not the end of the world. Like you definitely have ways of getting it. You definitely have ways of getting it back, but it's not ideal, I guess.
Yeah, I just think, like, all the other ones are so good at, like, imagine, you're building, you have Weavile, Gengar, Volcarona, and then you need rocks. It would really suck to have to go off, well, I guess I have to drop one of my mons for Miltank, it's unfortunate. Yeah. I wish maybe, like, there was another good mon besides Garchomp, another mon that you really want to bring a lot that had rocks, but it's not the end of the world, and something like Mega Garchomp can be a setup sleeper set while carrying rocks, right? It can be rocks as the scale shot EQ and like set up rocks for itself and then sweep. I don't think there's that many mons that can afford that.
No, not really.
So
I think my other, like before when he had Zygarde instead of Mega Chomp, I think my other complaint is that I feel like a good mix breaker would be nice here, but Mega Chomp definitely fits that role.
Yeah, I guess Quin made his team worse so that SirKill could thrive. Thank you, Quin, for your sacrifice.
Yeah. I can't really think of anything else other than this is a good team. I approve of the Leafeon pick.
Yeah. I remember when Quin dropped Mega Garchomp, I immediately DM'd SirKill. I was like, Garchomp dropped, and then go like, I'm out right now. Just drop Zygarde for Chomp for me right now, and I'll figure out everything else after. So if you go to the trade channel, you can see me picking up Garchomp for him.
I mean, to be fair, I think even with Zygarde, this team would have still been good, but just not as good.
Yeah, I think Garchomp really just makes things a lot scarier.
Yeah. Alright, I think we can move on now.
Yeah.
Alright, now we have Banana. Well, put his team in frame. There we go. And, again, this is another really scary team.
Yeah, another team that was in my top 3. I really like this team.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I personally am not a weather player, but this is a good weather. I think this is a good weather team. You have like it benefits from weather a lot, but I think that if you have some matchup where both weathers are dog shit, you're still probably fine. Like you can still bring Drill without Sane. You can still bring Torkoal without like you need to abuse it. Use Sun. Bikini is fine without Sun.
Yeah, and I just feel like everything synergizes together so well, right?
Yeah.
Like Excadrill can struggle with things like, I don't know, Celesteela, Skarmory, those kind of ones, but then there's Sun and like fucking Victini.
Mm-hmm.
Victini could struggle maybe with some bulky waters, bulky dragons, but then you have Altaria for dragons and then Venusaur for bulky waters, right? And like everything I think works together really well.
Yeah.
And on the defensive side, it's even better, I feel. Like Metabus, Hippowdon, Gels, and Torkoal, Mega Altaria are all super hard to kill. You have a Porygon that's unironically really good, and it checks a lot of things you would not expect it to check.
Like, I checked a Zygarde with it, and that was really funny.
Yeah, and then we haven't talked about Pheromosa yet. That's the worst part about it. Like, this team with Pheromosa is already super solid, super threatening. And then there's a Pheromosa just there vibing, you know, and if you're not careful, suddenly it just beast boosts through your team and your team is gone and you don't know what happened.
And he also has a lot of speed control. Like, you have, obviously, the elite speed with Pheromosa, and then you have, like, weathers with Drill and Venu, but then, like, you even have, like, you could do shit like Trick Room Jellicent into, like, Torkoal, into, like, Specs Eruption Torkoal, or, like, teleport Porygon into Torkoal.
This team has both Water Spout and Eruption.
Yeah.
Why not? You know, it's just a luxury.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's a good team.
Banana said it himself, this is his best CDLA team ever, and you know what? I'll agree with it. It's just a really solid team.
Yeah, don't Banana with it, please.
The only minor, like, drawback to this team, I think, is the huge speed gap between Pheromosa and Victini. So a lot of Mons below Pheromosa can afford to run Adamant and Modest, but I don't think it's the end of the world, because since you have Weather, you just outspeed those Mons, right? So, like,
yeah,
it's not like those Mons can run Adamant, Modest, and outspeed your offense. It's the opposite, where usually you will outspeed them.
And even then, like, if they want to outspeed you, then they have to slap a scarf on their Lottie or their card, which, like, of course isn't the end of the world, but they probably have to do Jolly or Timid for it, so it kind of works out anyways.
Yeah, like, if Card wants to outspeed, I don't know, Venusaur and Sun, is it even possible? I don't know. Like, it probably will have to try to be Scarf, and yeah. Essentially, really threatening team. I think if played well, this team can go really far, and hey, maybe this is the season Banana wins CDLA.
Maybe, yeah.
It's not impossible. He won Season 1 of PSCA, the ancestor of CDLA.
Yeah,
not
I think
that many people know that.
He's also made playoffs a couple times, so, like, maybe this year is his year.
Yeah, I think last season he made playoffs and won his round 1, right? So that means he was in quarters, I believe?
Can you go check?
Yeah, I'll go check real quick. So last season in playoffs, let me just find the playoff sheet. Yeah, he made playoffs and then he won against Psycho, so he made it to quarterfinals where he lost to Darunia.
Yeah. Darunia did have a broken team that season, so
yeah,
fair.
He was 2 games away of winning CDL.
Yeah.
We can say it like that. And so this might be the season we see a Banana breakout. I think he just needs to stop tilting.
Yeah.
Because I think in the past where he used to do really well, he didn't tilt. A while ago, I saw a replay of, like, I think it's the first time I played him. I was hacking the shit out of him, and you could see him type in the chat and say things like, "Oh, it's not your fault. It's all good. It happens." And it's just crazy to me because he like de-evolved somehow.
He regressed.
I don't know how that happened. It's like the PewDiePie where like it's evolving but backward.
Alright, on that note, do you think we should move on?
Yeah.
Alright, let's move on to Pop, who's the only newcomer in Desolate and still somehow got fucked in the lottery.
Yeah, he had a 17% chance to be first overall, did not work out for him, and then like almost like 20% chance to be back wheel or like second. And he just got extremely unlucky with the lottery and ended up 8th out of 12 people, which is not a good draft pick.
Yeah, but even then, I think he ended up with a pretty solid team for his first time around.
Yeah.
My only concern with it is that I think there's kind of a lack of like a dedicated breaker. There's a lot of cleaners.
Yeah, breaking and revenge killing is going to be hard with this team, I think.
Yeah, like Giratina can definitely break, but it doesn't always want to do that. Usually you want to play it as like a mod that can either offensively check something just due to how fat it is naturally, or as like a mod that like spreads status, gets 1 or 2 kills, and then like just basically breaks enough to let your team clean.
And when Giratina does want to break, it's oftentimes with things like a strong poltergeist or with super effective coverage. So if you have mons that are really bulky and are not weak to poltergeist, like Mandibuzz and Porygon 2, I can see this team really struggle to break them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of mons here, like Kenrock Sylveon, can struggle to hit really hard without setup, and so like even something like a Hippowdon just click and roar, right, with rocks can be extremely annoying here.
Yeah, I think Hippo I feel like Hippo's a massive threat for this team. Especially because like most of your offense is pretty physically biased, like Giratina and Heatran and I guess Rotom Frost are like your special offense. But Giratina is like a mixed breaker it's a mixed mon more than a pure special mon.
Yeah. And then the other point we talked about was revenge killing. You don't have the best Scarfers here, right? Lycanroc is a bit weak if you're running Scarf on it because Stone Edge doesn't benefit from Tough Claw. And then Crobat is also weak with a Scarf, so like your best Scarfers are what? Heatran?
Yeah.
You're not revenge killing with Scarf Heatran, Scarf Drapion, so that can also be an issue. I used that example last time, I think, but something like a Mega Lati gets a Calm Mind on you, suddenly it's getting scary because you have a hard time killing it, right? Lopunny can try to Axel it, but if you miss one, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, Giratina's Sneak is gonna do like 55.
Yeah.
But then you just die afterwards.
Yeah, so you will have to chip with like your Crobat and things like that and take a lot of damage in return.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some of the teams you can just go your Scarfer and just threaten to Oko, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are my two main issues with this team. Revenge killing and breaking. Otherwise, it's still a really solid team. I think defensively it synergizes really well, right?
Yeah.
Heatran and Swampert are just a pain to break. Giratina helps with that.
Yeah, throw Giratina onto that, it's annoying. You have good wish support for Heatran Swampert, but at the same time, like, you might be I feel like you could fall into the trap of being overly reliant on spamming wish to keep Heatran, Swampert, and Giratina healthy.
Yeah, and then it can end up losing a lot of momentum and playing more passively. I can see that, yeah.
So I would just try to be careful with that and keep don't be afraid to like use Heatran and Swampert as like intermediate checks, and don't be like, they don't always have to be healthy. Sometimes they just have to be alive to keep checking, because they have like just the threat of you switching it in can like stop something.
Yeah. I think besides that, the utility on this team is insane. Amazing rockers in Swampert Heatran, amazing defoggers in Crobat, Rotom, Giratina.
Mm-hmm.
You have Wish, you have T-Spikes, you have regular spikes, you have everything, right?
Yeah.
You have good momentum option with U-turn Lopunny, Baton Pass Sylveon, U-turn Crobat, Old Switch Rotom.
Flip turn Swampert.
So, I think we might sound like a bit mean here, but it's still a really, really good team. We're just trying to be critical of it, you know, to like help, and hopefully it's constructive criticism. But it's still a really solid team. Lopunny, Heatran, Giratina can all be super threatening, and like you can still try to break with things like Spec Sylveon, Specs Eruption, Heatran, right? It's not like you're completely helpless. It just takes a lot more creativity.
Yeah, you have to think outside the box a little to break.
Yeah.
I guess to some extent, like you have great stall breakers in Heatran, Crobat, so
yeah, Taunt is going to help a lot.
Yeah. I can't really think of anything else to say, so do you think we should move on?
Yeah, I think we can move on.
Alright, now we have Fish, and this is a very Fish team.
It's a team, yeah.
It's weird. I think it works, though. Like, I think not... Like... Go ahead.
Like, I like the core of Rillaboom Magnus, because Rillaboom oftentimes will get a free knock on things like Scizor trying to come in, or things like Skarmory, Celesteela, those kind of mons, and then once you knock off the Shed Shell, Magnezone has a free time just trapping them.
Yeah, I think...
And with the Steel-type gun, Naganadel is a lot scarier, Rillaboom is a lot scarier.
Yeah, Rillaboom or Urshifu will also help kill like bulky grounds that might want to try and check Naga.
Yeah.
I'm not really like the biggest fan of Zoroark here. I think it's I know you need a dark type, but it feels like just kind of a win more.
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool to have illusion, you know, because a mon like Naganadel is really threatening. It forces you a lot of the time to attack it, right? Otherwise, if you give it a free nasty plot, it just wins.
Yeah,
and so
fair.
being able to force a Psychic on a potential Zoroark is huge. Or like the opposite is also huge, making them doubt like whether it's Naganadel and Zoroark and maybe not clicking Psychic when it's actually Naganadel can also be huge.
Yeah,
and so
you know what, that's fair.
I like the mind games it creates. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I think this team is just good. It's very weird, it's very Fish, and I think that's what's gonna make it work. I think if you gave this to like someone who plays a lot more standard, I don't think they'd be able to make this work.
Yeah, and like you can always win with this team simply because there's a Mew, right?
Yeah, it's like Naga Mew are such good win cons.
Lose with a Mew. Naga Mew, even Rillaboom up to some extent. Urshifu is a great breaker.
Well, Urshifu can even be a win con at times, like bulk up.
I feel like it's a bit slow and it's too matchup dependent, kind of like Keldeo, where there's too many mons that resist your stab combination, right?
I guess, yeah.
Zapeg, Slowbro, Delades,
I could see helmet spam be a bit annoying here, because like if you're not bringing natural
Urshifu will definitely struggle with helmet, yeah.
Yeah, and even things like Naga and like Zoroark, like if they're not being like set up variants, then they like to click U-turn a decent amount, and like it's extra chip on them, and they're frail enough to where like they usually just live one hit, but not two, and that helmet chip can put them in range of dying when they shouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah. I'm also not the biggest fan of Klefki and Ditto. I feel like Ditto is too reliant on your opponent. Like if your opponent Ditto proves their setup on and you go Ditto, you just give them more setup and it might just lose you the game.
Yeah, I think Fish is like the one person though who I trust to make Ditto do funky things.
Yeah, and then Klefki I think is just an overrated Pokemon. It's pretty expensive. I think it's over 10.
I think it's 11.
Yeah, and then like
might be 12 actually.
I don't know. It clicks spikes.
I think it brings a lot of like it's a bit on the passive side, and I think it does invite things in. But
I think I'd rather have another fairy like maybe Aromatisse that has a Trick Room, and I think something like Camera Up would benefit a lot from Trick Room.
Yeah, actually that's a good point. Like Aromatisse for Trick Room here would be really nice. It just gives you another dimension of your offense. And then maybe like get a Aromatisse plus like a cheap Spiker with for replacing Klefki. I could see that work. But I could also see Klefki is here, like, just to set screens, because, like, Naga, Rilla, Camel, Mew, or, like, his team loves screens.
Yeah. But, like, I don't know, if you demote from Hermetis to, from Klefki to Hermetis, you probably can afford, like, a low-tier screen setter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think you really needed Klefki here.
That's fair. I don't hate it here. I just think that I kind of agree that like Aromatisse would do really well here.
Yeah.
Alright, I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, we can move on.
Alright, now we have Griffin. And this is, well, Griffin, this is basically just his team from Season 8, but better, I feel.
Yeah. Although last season he had a Hippowdon.
Yeah.
Kind of a Chadmon.
I mean, Teacher's not a bad mon either, and like I think it's great for pursuit trapping psychics for Zama. And
for Zamazinta, for Laddie, yeah.
I'm not really sold on the Talonflame Decidueye picks here. You really didn't need Talonflame speed when you have Zama Coco.
Yeah, and having Talonflame as your only fair resist is a bit weird because it's not the bulkiest Pokemon.
Yeah, I think getting like dropping Talonflame Decidueye for like Moltres and like a cheaper grass could work really well here.
Is Moltres even still on the board?
I think so, because I think SirKill drafted it, but then he dropped it for Volcarona.
I can go check real quick. Wait, I'm on the Season 8 doc. That's the wrong one.
Skill issue.
It's because you told me to go check for Banana. So, Moltres is undrafted, yeah.
Yeah, I think, like, Moltres plus a cheaper grass would fit really nicely here.
Yeah.
But besides that, I think it's that, and I think that this team could have a bit of trouble breaking, kind of like Pop, where he has a lot of really good cleaners and mons that like appreciate shit, but I don't really see something that comes in as like, oh, I am going to kill something, except for like Banded T-Tar and like SD Silvally.
Yeah, it can feel so that reliant, and so if I go back to the Hippo example I used a bit earlier, Hippowdon just clicking Roar with Rocks Up is infuriating for this team. It's just, how do I kill it?
Yeah. I agree. I think other than that, I like this team.
Yeah. I think if we had to do a ranking, it would be in the top 6. I think this is definitely like on the upper half. It's still, I think, to me, in my opinion, it's still really solid. Zamazinta Electric Terrain is scary because a lot of the checks you could have like slow growth Toxapex suddenly are 2-KO'd by Wild Charge. So it just makes Zamazinta a lot scarier.
Yeah, I think I'd probably put it around like slightly above average, personally. But again, I think all of the teams so far have been pretty solid at least.
Yeah. We said that in the last recording, but with our point system and like the fact that you can just have an S tier, it's really hard to have a really bad team, right? You just have so much points to work with, and like unless you're going mono bug, your team will never be bad.
Ooh, Rob's getting killed for that.
He's not gonna watch this video. He's
you know, like yeah.
Like fuck you, Rug. If you see this, you can ping me, I guess, but you're never gonna see this. Unless someone snitches. If you're a Desolate coach and you see this, don't snitch. Don't be a bitch. Snitches get stitches, you know what they say. And Azumata can just ban you, you better be careful.
I'm using mod privileges, I see.
Hey, you gave me that power.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways.
Alright, let's move on.
We can move on now.
Alright, now we have, oh god, getting the wrong tab. I'm very well prepared for this, as you can obviously see.
Professional YouTuber, let's fucking go.
Yep. So now we have, Div. And, yeah, this is basically, like, I think if you told, like, a draft league player who's only played in Gen 8, hey, build a team with whatever the fuck you want, I feel like they'd get something like this.
A lot of SPLC team did look like this. I can confirm. A lot of Tornadoes, a lot of Glow King.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's a bad team, I think it's just kind of...
It's far from a bad team.
It's a really good team,
I think, and I was talking about my top 3. This is in my top 3 alongside SirKill team and Banana's team. I'll order them like after the whole thing, but I liked a lot of the ones in there. Hippo, Diancie, Adino, Como, Blacephalon, Torn T, Glow King, Zera, like everything here is just so good, I think. No water type is surprising, you know, they've usually unintentionally, I think, do these sort of like no steel challenge or no fairy challenge. No ground challenge. This time it's no water challenge, but I don't think it's too bad here.
Yeah. Like, Glow King might as well be an ice resist for like every special attack.
Yeah, again, that's something else we said in the last recording, but even though your ice resist is Blacephalon, you beat all the relevant ice types pretty much, right? Weavile will pretty much just always lose to Helmet. Skarmory Kyurem has a really hard time beating Glow King. And like, your team has a better time against ice types, I think, than most other teams with a water type. So that's a dub, right?
Yeah.
There's not that many other team that will deal with Mamoswine or Freeze-Ray Kyurem. This one does. It has a Skarmory for Weavile Mamoswine. It has a Glow King for Kyurem.
Yeah, and then you have
so
like
you can just enjoy.
And you have Audino as like auxiliary support in case of like one of them gets too pressured.
Yeah, so I really, really, really like this team. It's really close to mine, so that might play into it. But I think Div can have some off seasons like some of the earlier ones or last one. I don't think this is going to be one. He broke the Diancie curse, and I think he's comfortable with ones like Torn T here, and I can see this team just do really, really well.
Just don't overthink your sets, please. At least too much.
He's going to be grassy terrain, grassy glide, Tangela somehow, and then...
I honestly could see that. Next thing you know, he's bringing Banded Glow King on ironically.
It can work, hey. Don't shit on Banded Glow King. If there's a mon that can do everything at once, it might as well be Glow King, hey.
I guess, yeah. Anything else, really? I mean, it's just a solid team. Like, he has pretty much all his bases covered besides not having a water type, but like we said earlier, it doesn't really need a water type.
Yeah, it's just there to click buttons, and Glow King is like a water resist, a fire resist, an ice resist. You know, you'll never kill this with a flamethrower.
Yeah. Alright, I think we can move on to the last team now.
Maik.
Yeah. I love this offense. Not really sold on the defense.
Offense is pretty threatening. Mamoswine and Mega Zardax are two ones that, like, if you just see one of them on a team, it's already a headache to prep for. Having the two of them is worse.
Yeah, and then you think, oh, my bulky water can deal with this. There's a Skyman right there.
There's a Shin Sky, and like, Shin Sky can also just flinch you down even if you have an actual answer to it. So
yeah.
You know, maybe there is no... maybe Darunia and Psycho were onto something. What's the point of having a flying resist if it can just flinch me down? Might as well just go balls against the wall and not have one.
I also think that, like, the Jiwi's, like, Porygon 2 is, like, I like it as a defensive core.
It's really annoying to kill because Jiwi's can absorb knockoffs and fighting hits for P2, and then P2 just eats up everything else, kind of.
Yeah. But I think...
yeah.
I think a Dark type would be nice here. I don't really... like, I kind of understand why Sandslash is here, as well as Dodrio, but, like, I think a Dark type is more necessary.
A Dark type would be nice because, like, your only real way to beat them are, like, Jirachi, but Jirachi has a hard time, I think, killing a lot of Dark types, a lot of Psychic types. Yeah. Like, I think Necrozma would be really threatening here.
Yeah, and, like, strong Psy spam against this team is pretty scary.
Yeah, most Psychic types will have Shadow Ball for Jirachi, and, like, just not having a Dark type, you enable things like mono store power sets. You enable things like future sight to set up for kills, things like psychic terrain, and like it's just a lot of annoying things you have to deal with that just having a dark type would block. And like something like Sense Slash has no real purpose here, I feel, because you have a lot of spinners, right? You have Blastoise, you have Hitmonchan, that's more than like any other team already. Two spinners.
You don't
and
need
then
3 spinners is over.
yeah, you have G-Wiz that can defog. So in terms of hazard control, you didn't need Sense Slash, right? And then in terms of hazard setting, you have Mamoswine and you have Jirachi, right? And like, there's just never really a reason to bring Sense Slash over Mamoswine, I feel.
Yeah. Like, I guess maybe Spikes, but I don't really think that you... Like, Spikes is just a win more for you, I feel.
Yeah, but I feel like it's hard to justify bringing Sense Slash on top of Mamoswine just for Spikes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess there might be like 1 or 2 times where like Mamo, like since Mamo has that ice type, against him to like close combat or grass or like other moves that like Sand Slash might be able to take better, but I think those are pretty fringe cases.
Yeah, I think those are pretty rare situations, and it's like I think a dark type would just be better in more situations, basically.
Yeah, I want to really like the Dodrio pick here, but I think sacrificing it for a dark type would be better.
Yeah.
Because you already have the bird spam with Skyman.
Z-move Dodrio is kind of fire though. It has jump kick.
It's a threat. It's a threat. I'm just saying, I think...
It helps a bit with speed, so I don't mind it. Like, it helps bridge the gap between Skyman and Zardex, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
So...
Like, I'm not
saying
it
has more of a purpose than Sense Slash.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that I hate the Dodrio pick, I just think that it might be a mon that might have to be unfortunately sacrificed to get a decent dark type.
Yeah, sometimes sacrifices are rough. I had to sacrifice fuck rat.
Yeah. Rest in peace, fuck rat.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that wraps up the analysis of Desolate.
Yeah, I think so.
My top 3 favorite team here are number 1 Div's team, number 2 Banana's team, and then number 3 SirKill in that order.
I think for me, I would have probably... I changed my mind. I think I would have SirKill as number 1, Banana as number 2, and then maybe like Darunia or Fish as number 3. I think Div's team is just straight up better than Darunia or Fish's. I just think that using Fish or Darunia's team, I would have more fun with them.
Yeah, so I think if we had to pick like one winner of the division, it would be Banana. So let's see what he can do with it.
Yeah, a lot more pressure on him this time to perform, I guess. Not really.
He might need to help Quin with his team because apparently he always has the same record as Quin. You might have to help Quin make some trades to make sure Quin can also make it far.
Imagine they face in Desolate finals. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Alright.
Any final thoughts?
I think that everyone at least... I'm happy to say that I think everyone at least ended up with a decent team.
Yeah. We said in almost every analysis, like, oh, this is a really solid team, or this is a really good team.
Like, I think even, like, the teams that I think are, like, on the worst off end are still, like, really solid.
Yeah, there's no team here where, like, if I had to replace, I would just cry myself to sleep. Like, I think everything I can work with.
Yeah, like, everything at least, like, every team at least is, like, 2 or 3 pieces that you can build a new team around, at least.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Because, like, sometimes you just, like, when you take over a team, you see what's there, and there's absolutely nothing. It's really disheartening, because, like, like, no matter how hard you try, there's just be games where you just auto-lose.
Yeah, some teams just have no purpose. But I don't think it happened here, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your YouTuber outro?
I don't really... I guess, yeah, sure. If you enjoyed this video and watched until the end, ping me with some Xavier Renegade Angel quote. And,
oh yeah, you can ping us and say, oh, I watched the whole video.
Yeah. If you skip to the end and just to hear this, then fuck you. I can't really think of a better insult. Angles and centrifuge if we want to bring that back, but I don't really know why we would.
Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below and tell us who has your favorite team. Haha, yay,
and,
YouTube.
Tell us your favorite type of chip, both government and potato variety. I don't know.
Don't forget to ring the bell if you want to get a notification every time Hazy uploads, you know? Like every year, maybe.
Yeah, you're getting that bell wrong maybe like once a year at this rate. So, have fun with that.
I mean, hey, those videos are so rare, you certainly don't want to miss them, huh?
Shut up. So alright,
YouTuber outro.
Yeah, now we're just rambling and talking about random shit now, so...
You should try to end this as soon as possible.
Yeah,
so that we can do sub 1 hour.
Yeah, alright. On that note, hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time when I upload, probably in a few days. For Final Day.
Yeah,
Bye.
goodbye.